So, we're finally doing this, man.
We're finally doing it.
Finally doing this.
I feel like I have to burp. It's not coming out. It's crawling around in there.
Oh, I did just have delicious dinner.
It's like, oh, so good.
Oh, meatloaf and potatoes is a great way to start off a podcast.
It's so delicious. I'm going to go into a coma.
Yeah, so this is the Just Interesting podcast. I am Isaac.
I'm James.
And we're going to talk about stuff we find just interesting.
Yeah.
So most of that is probably just going to be video game related a lot of the time because we like video games. But
I don't do anything else with my life.
And then we'll divulge on a bunch of other random stuff. Really just anything we find interesting.
I'm an empty shell of a man, Isaac.
Well, we will fill that empty shell with interesting facts, James.
Yes!
And interesting topics.
Oh, boy.
It's going to be so good. And because you can't just talk, you are, and this is for everyone listening, you're playing Halo Reach.
I am.
As
one of my
we are
favorite games.
Discussing. Oh, it's so good.
It's so good.
And Reach, like I said, is my favorite of the series, the entire Halo universe.
Yeah.
At this point.
No, I'm with you. It brought all the things back that I liked about Halo 1 in terms of the mechanics of how characters handle and the weapons. And the only thing that I miss in this one is the dual wielding is gone. But honestly, it brings some balance back, especially to the multiplayer, that I felt was missing in 2 and 3, which I liked a lot. But this is one of my top shooters of all time on a console. It's so clean. It was
the only
fun.
one I really played. Like Halo 3, I played LAN parties with people. And,
yeah.
I did a lot of that, but I never really played a lot of the online. I did with a few friends, and there were some great times to be had there.
Yeah.
But this one's online was a great revamp of the system.
Oh, man, it's so good. It's so good. And it's still really active. You can jump on, and it's amazing.
It's still really active, yeah.
Yeah.
Because of gold and that whole business, I haven't jumped on in a while.
No, and I totally understand. I'm basically paying for gold now just so I can play Grand Theft Auto 5 online. And I'm like, is that worth $50 a year? Because I'm still paying
you can find I've seen sales on it pretty regularly that are down to about, I think I've seen it as low as $40 per year. So.
And I got to basically let mine lapse and then just reacte it sometime
when you get one of those sales.
Yeah.
This game is just absolutely wonderful. And on that topic, we have so we're going to try to start this by doing a news segment where we just talk about random stuff we saw that happened throughout the week and see what that segues into a bigger topic that we'll kind of end up spending the majority of our time on. That's kind of how we talked about structuring this. So that's just for you guys to know what this is kind of going to be structured like. So on the topic of Halo, we've got Halo 5 coming.
Halo 5.
Halo 5.
Halo 5.
Oh, my word. Oh, so
Morgan
you and I were both slightly disappointed in Halo 4.
I felt that basically it got rid of the Flood. And I loved the Flood as an antagonist because holy crap.
Well, that's a suicide grunt.
But I missed the Flood because the Flood were so scary as an enemy group because it was like, all right, your old beef with the Covenant and the UNSC doesn't matter anymore because now you've got super smart zombie parasite dudes that can just take everything that you know and make it what they know. And, you got a sweet ship? Oh, well, now they got the ship, and they're flying it to go infect other people, which I just thought was cool. And then in Halo 4, they're like, but guess who's the really big bad guys? A bunch of space robots. And I'm like, I don't know these people. I don't know where they're from.
You mean the Forerunners who have been, the topic of most of the game?
Yeah, but, I don't know. I thought it was cooler when you never saw the Forerunners, when it was just a bunch of artifacts and buildings.
Man. That was actually my most disappointing part of Halo 4's story was when you actually there's always something lost when you establish a villain in a game series or a movie series or a television show or any book, anything. And they're kind of mysterious. You see their structures or you see the remnants, that type of past lost civilization. There's always expectations you build up that are lost when some artist actually scribes that.
You can't compete with the imagination.
You can't compete with the imagination when and you build that own picture in your head of what a Forerunner looked like.
Right.
And then when it comes out as a cancerous bird person, you can't.
That's so true though.
Yeah. Well, no. I looked at the didact and I was like,
nah, it didn't do it for me.
The technology was kind of on point, but
it all made sense.
It all made sense.
My criticisms of it aren't that it's crap. It's just that I liked it better as a mystery, and when they take away that mystery, then Yeah.
Yeah, and I have similar feelings for things like my favorite game series is Mass Effect. And one of the big mysteries in that show, and by the way, we're never going to post real spoiler cast type things on this podcast, so by listening to this, you are potentially opening yourself up to spoilers. But then again, we're always so behind on everything, it won't matter. So,
right.
Anyway,
I'm a decade behind on
everything. Speaking on Mass Effect,
which I've only played halfway through 2.
Oh, we got to do that sometime. It's so good. But
never touched 3.
The character Tali was
she wears the mask.
The mask, right? And that was like a big thing, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, 3, we're gonna get to see Tali's face."
Oh wait, do you?
You do, but it's this like photoshopped image. It looked so lazily done, and it was okay. It was fine, but you build up an image in your head.
Would she look like a person, or like what?
Yeah,
what
it was like a person
about?
With some glowy lights, like glow sticks, and like a deep sea fish, and a person had a baby. But like,
I don't know how
hotter.
I feel about that.
It was,
but hot.
But hot. No,
we want you to feel something about this fish face.
Yeah, and it was a cute way. It's like I left something for you on your table by your bed or something in your cabin, and it's like a picture of her, and you're like, oh, that's sweet. And then you look at the picture and you're like, okay, that's kind of cool. But you have an image you build. The whole point is you have an image you build in your head of these places or these people or these things, and when an artist actually puts it to production, that becomes canon.
Then your sexuality gets confused.
Well, in addition to that, you kind of lose some of the magic of that. And one thing, there's a great, and before that, like not only had it built in my head, but sometimes the more disappointing ones are when you find other artists who did it better. So there's a great image
I know what you mean.
There's a great image out there of Tali's face
done like a fan art,
that is so much better than what was in. Like, even from a quality standpoint, than what was in the game. You're just like, in my head, that is her face. I don't care.
Right.
So,
the head
all
cannons.
that to say, Halo 4's story. And it was a little weak, and, the story was just trying... It was really... What it was happening was it was the transfer of the series to 343. And 343 trying to go, okay,
and considering that, still really solid.
Oh, mechanically on point.
Exactly. Like, the game still plays like a Halo game, so... If I have complaints about it, they're all based around the story, which really doesn't matter. Like, if the game plays well, then my complaints are minor.
And like I said, like being Mass Effect as my favorite series, story in games is the most important element to me. So that's why I was let down by Halo 4. Because it was really them fumbling around going, okay, well, you beat the Covenant, that whole big thing's over. The Flood, which is your complaint, why aren't they there? Well, they were destroyed.
It was resolved. It was resolved. So
So what excites me about Halo 5 is the story.
Yeah.
Because now they've had their one game to get a grip on it.
Yeah.
And to understand, and I think they took that criticism to heart of, your story was a bit weak. So at least from the trailers and from the PR that they've been doing for Halo 5, the story looks like it's going to be at least enough to keep me interested in playing the campaign for the sake of the story. We know in a Halo series the mechanics will be great now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, it's after playing so many Halo games.
Is that too, to be able to be like, at least we know the gameplay is going to be good, if nothing else. That's so great, man. I love that. Naughty Dog is the same way. Anytime they put out something, it's like, all right, I might have complaints about this, but at least the thing's going to play well.
Exactly. Yeah. So right now, like you and I have been talking about today, and I've been talking about my wife's ear for just the past week, is I'm doing my best to not buy an Xbox One just for the sake of Halo 5.
Right.
Because and the thing is, to me, mentally, it would probably end up being worth it. But then I'd look at that Xbox One about a year from now, just sitting there, all sad and dusty and alone, going, "Hey, buddy, do you remember when you were playing some Halo 5 online? Do you remember when you were doing? Oh, it was good times. Just turn me on. I've got so many updates waiting. Oh God." So that's what I'm trying to avoid right now. But hey, if I do break or find a good deal, I'm sure we'll talk about it, and you'll have to sit down, and we'll have to do a let's play that we are
absolutely. No, man, because I like I told you, I played through Halo 4 co-op with a buddy of ours, and that was it. I never touched the online mode, and from what I heard, they released a bunch of like co-op missions.
Yeah, like mini episodes.
Yeah, which I never touched. So I'm sure there's a lot to that game.
Spartan Ops,
that's right. And I'm sure there's a lot to that I just never got. So that game probably had a lot more content in it than I ever touched. So me knocking on it probably, again, isn't really
and we're not, again,
balanced.
The only thing we're really knocking on is the story was weak.
Yeah.
And some of the elements,
it felt weak.
It felt like a week, but now they've kind of got some momentum going with, everything that happened in that game, and here come the Hammer Bros.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this part,
Hammer
dude,
Bros.
this section on Legendary took me forever.
Yeah.
Oh my word, it's so bad.
That's one of the spots I gave
But
up
if you
in.
could steal one of the hammers, it becomes a lot easier.
The hammers are so fun.
But all right, so yeah, that's Halo 5, and we're both excited. We'll see if we ever get to experience it,
right,
soon-ish.
Yeah,
if this podcast does eventually go long enough, we might get the opportunity to be like, hey, it's like a year later, and here we're playing Halo 5.
I'm gonna make you do it.
I know you have forgotten about it because of Halo 7.
Oh no.
So, okay.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry.
So yeah, the news. Back to the news. Now we're done talking about Halo. Battlefront beta. Oh man.
Battlefront.
So there was an open beta. So everybody could get in it if you could download it. I don't know how the consoles interacted with it in terms of the beta, but...
Oh yeah, was there a console beta?
I'm not sure. I was only aware of the PC version as the beta, but I could be very, very wrong. All I know is that for the past 2 weeks, Reddit has pretty much been... the gaming subreddit has pretty much just been Battlefront GIFs, which
awesome.
have been it's so good. There's been moments like Vader doing the lightsaber throw. One of his things is throwing his lightsaber and hitting a snowspeeder out of the sky. There's been Luke Skywalker like force pushing a snowtrooper into a TIE fighter as it flies by.
Oh my god,
and blowing up the TIE fighter.
I totally forgot you had like special. Hero characters.
Yeah, they're part of the power-ups you can do, and some of the power-ups are pretty fun. There's I think it's called a thermal imploder, which is like a super grenade that does this cool like...
That's awesome.
It's like a big grenade, and you can get like sentry turret pickups, and...
oh, that's sick.
Oh, and again, my favorite one is Orbital Strike, which is, as a sci-fi spaceship nerd, like... just the best.
Dropping the bombs.
Dropping bottles in the club.
Dropping bottles in the club.
Dropping lasers from orbit.
Getting slizzard.
In half.
Dude, anytime there's like anytime there's any kind of airstrike in a game, I get so excited. Basically, Metal Gear 5, all I've done, I've basically spammed my way through a bunch of the missions just by dropping airstrikes on people, and I have so much fun.
Well, wasn't there a way to, just tangenting a bit to Metal Gear Solid 5, wasn't there a way to, so Quiet, the sniper chick who has questionable clothing.
Yes. I worked my way up to real clothes for her.
Well, you can like get real close, but won't that suffocate her?
Literally, it's like endgame, basically. It's right. Is it going to suffocate her? Nobody knows, but apparently nobody cares. But yeah, you can make her totally silver. Then you can make her totally gold, and then after that, you can give her a real uniform.
Oh, you can go James Bond on that business.
Like an adult. Yeah.
Oh,
man. My god, it's so stupid.
That's
so stupid. I feel embarrassed sitting there, and it's like, oh, what you doing, buddy?
Wasn't there something about like a shower scene or something like that you can unlock?
You get out of the chopper, and the rain is coming down, and she and Big Boss are prancing around in the rain and playfully shoving each other, and
and this was after Kojima was all like, no, there's totally a legit reason she's in a bikini.
His exact words were, once you find out the reason, you will be ashamed of your words and deeds.
And the reason was like some bullcrap about she can't breathe.
She breathes through her skin, and...
Right.
Photosynthesis, like the character at the end from Metal Gear Solid 5.
She's Poison Ivy, so, okay...
Yeah,
sure.
Which is fine, man. But
it's
like
fine,
at the same time, dude, hey, don't justify the fact that you want to put this lady in no clothing by saying like, "Oh no, it's okay. She needs it to live."
Like we get that you want to make game
sales. It's adorable,
sales.
buddy.
We get it.
We were all 12 once. Like I understand.
So, but anyway, like back to airdrops.
Yes.
I heard during like her fight to get her is apparently pretty tough.
It can be, yeah.
But, I read somewhere that someone basically found out that you can do supply drops and just drop them on her head.
Exactly what I did.
To be,
you stun her and knock her out. And I was like, this can't really work. And somebody was like, nope, 2 supply drops and she's out. And I did it, and I was so pleased. It also lets you get the objective for taking her out without using any lethal hits, because the supply drops on her head count as a non-lethal stun hit.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's hilarious.
So it was like the easy... Wow, you have no health bars.
It's very easy.
Okay.
No, we got this.
Oh, yeah, speaking of Reach had that awesome mortar call-in weapon, like, for airstrikes.
Oh, yeah, that's right, the orbital... whatever that is. Is it an orbital strike?
I think it's a mortar. I don't know if... Or an artillery strike. It's not. Okay. It's not actually from orbit, but it's Halo, it might as well be.
Yeah.
But, this also has that great scene in this game, in Reach, with the Covenant ship that's going away, and you just see the Mac round come down from space and cut it in half.
Right, it just splits it.
Oh, it's so good.
So
just
sick.
Dropping stuff from orbit. It's so good. Slizzarding things in here. Getting slizzard. That's my... Anytime something comes out of the sky in a video game now
it's getting slizzard.
It's getting slizzard. That's how we're gonna call it.
Yes.
So, oh man, so good. So good. Alrighty, so yeah, Battlefield. Front. See, there are so many people that I've talked to that have been making that mistake, and you can understand why. It's from EA. It's from the same group. So, yeah. So Battlefront. One of the things that I got from the beta, and the sound design, the visuals, on point.
I'm
My
so
word,
happy about that.
So good.
Yeah.
And
the older games for their time looked pretty darn good. But I mean, they were really limited by, especially the console ports anyway, by the hardware at the time.
Oh, absolutely. And this game is absolutely next gen.
That's awesome.
That is one thing. And the most important thing is it makes you feel like the 2 options that were available was you could do a smaller kind of no vehicles, team on team capture drop pods thing.
Oh, sure.
That was the first thing, and they actually suggest you start there because it gets you a hand on the mechanics before you're thrown into the big battle, which is Hoth and the assault on Hoth.
Holy crap, that's awesome.
When you get to Hoth, everything kind of clicks in, and you're just like, It actually was, to me, it added to the movies. Because in the movies, I'm always like, why are they taking off of these? Why are these walkers? Why? Why are they losing this? They're big, stupid camels. Why are we losing this fight?
Yeah.
And just the simple fact that they explain it in Battlefront as you have to get the shields down, and then you do damage to them. Because to me, that makes sense. And I'm not the biggest Star Wars nerd, so there's probably some people listening to this being like, oh my word, how did you not know that those things were giant walking shield generators? That's why they couldn't hurt them, you dork.
Yeah.
So that's kind of...
that never occurred to me.
It added something, and it makes you understand the way that the map laid out Hoth. I'm sure they had to think long and hard about that. But... the fact that you are seeing the progression
looks like they're on a big field, right?
And you're like, why aren't they just blowing up that shield generator right now?
Yeah.
Well, in the game, they're walking around a mountain to get to a key, like you're going around like a mountain face to get a line of sight to the shield generator. So the way they lay out the battle, actually, then going back and watching the movie, it's like if I kind of picture this map in my head of how everything's laid out, this battle becomes so much more intense.
That's awesome.
Like, it gave some great context. So from a Star Wars universe standpoint, with the visuals and the audio and the layout of the maps and everything, it was great. I don't even have that many complaints about it mechanically either. My big complaint was just that you could be... like, there was a leveling system where you could level up, get up to rank 5 or so, but given that amount of time, I don't think they really had their... matchmaking service worked out all that well for putting people of like ability together.
Yeah,
because
I gotcha.
We were really I got into some matches where I just got like stomped on by some guy named Nutella, and it was unfortunate. and that takes it a bit away, because those games I expect to spawn and die. Right. I expect to spawn and die a lot. Yeah. But when it's the same guy over and over, and I know a lot of people are like, that's how online games are, you just have to get better, kind of understand.
They can be, but
it makes it harder for someone who's not into it to get into it.
Yeah, why are you going to persevere if you're just getting crushed as soon as you get into something? It's not a good starting experience.
Exactly. Yeah. So I hope that for their sake, they kind of work that out. And they probably will. Like, I don't expect them, with only limiting you to rank 5 and having just a short weekend beta, that, we're not going to have time to say, oh, this person's at this elo or skill level, and, this person's this, we shouldn't put them together. So if they work that out, I would be, basically have very few complaints. I didn't like that you couldn't choose at least I couldn't figure out how to choose what side you were on, because I will always be an Imperial scum. Or rebels. Oh God, there's so many people that are angry that I just said that. I always want to be be Imperials in those types of games. They have the coolest stuff, dude. They got gray spaceships. I mean, gray triangles in space with lasers. It's gray triangles.
Yeah, man.
They do like their geometric shapes.
That never occurred to me.
They got some gray triangle wedges, big gray sphere.
Oh my God.
I'm trying to think of any cubes they got. Their droids are kind of cube-like, but you couldn't. It seemed like it kind of threw you into whichever side, which on Hoth made a big difference, because there was a big balancing issue in the beta where it was almost impossible for the rebels to win, regardless of how good the team was. Yeah, it was possible, but it was very, very difficult. Which is more movie true.
Interesting, right? Yeah.
But it sucks, because if you get the rebels, you're like, oh, we're going to lose this match.
Yeah.
So, doing stuff like that was just. That it made sense, but it was like little nitpicky things. Overall, great game, and I'm not probably going to buy it just because of the aforementioned Halo 5 temptation that I'm undergoing.
It's hard,
and it's hard, dude. So it's hashtag first world problems, and I just said hashtag too. Oh, good lord!
Don't hate yourself; it'll pass. Just let that burning sensation subside, and
it's toasty.
Hashtag YOLO, Isaac.
Oh my word! So yeah. So in addition to that, things that are keeping me away from Halo 5 is going to be Fallout 4.
Fallout
4, dude. Oh my word! You played some Fallout. Yeah. You're familiar with Fallout and the series more so than I am. I tried playing 3 occasionally. I would always get stuck up in the fact that the game world is kind of. It looks bad. Let's be realistic. Like,
it's
vanilla Fallout
brown.
3 is very brown and green.
It's the brownest game I've played.
And the graphics work on it is, even when it came out, it looked like it was behind the times.
Yeah, it did. It was a weird thing, because at the time I was playing on older hardware, so it didn't bother me. I didn't really realize I was missing anything. But then even Skyrim, when that came out, it looked so much better. Just had a lot more, I guess, variety. Because Fallout 4 is very much, all right, everywhere is burnt to a crisp. So there's a few spots where you find some green shrubs. But
shrubs.
Yeah,
shrubberies.
Shrubberies.
Yeah. So from the trailer of 4, like that, and what footage we've seen, I'm already sold, because I think they took that to heart. That yes, it was a design and aesthetic choice to keep Fallout 3 in this kind of green, really gross kind of post-apocalyptic wasteland, and it really did make it look like this is a terrible place.
Which is a filter, I think, because I know
people have there's mods to take it out.
Yeah, because I remember playing something where they basically took off the I guess not sepia, but whatever the deal was with that, they cleaned it up or removed the visual effect that runs while you're playing, and it just looks better. Everything looks like it has more contrast, and.
Yeah, and there were definitely mods, which I tried getting into, but through a combination of technical issues and just not
there's a lot of great mods, but
not being stubborn enough to work it out.
Yeah. No, I had trouble, too, getting a lot of them to work. And there were some that would work, but not work with others. And so you'd wind up like picking and choosing mods and try to find which ones are compatible. And at the end of the day, I just didn't think it was worth it. I had a lot more success with Skyrim, especially since they integrated it with Steam Workshop.
Right, which did a lot of things for it. And, of course, there's the whole... debate there about paid mods and
I didn't
things
follow that very closely.
There was it popped up briefly and then it went away. It went away very quickly.
Oh, really?
But it's still not completely dead. there was a lot of community backlash because the modding community has always been very like, yeah, you can support me and that would help out if you did, but you don't have to.
Yeah, exactly.
Usually. So there's been a bit of backlash about that. But that beside the point, Fallout 4. Oh my word. The trailers and the color and the graphics, everything obviously looks updated.
Yeah.
And looks very current.
It's still
going to look behind a little bit, but that's Bethesda. And by behind, it'll look great. We've just become spoiled.
Yeah.
With what things look like, and talking about how good Battlefront looked. You're going to see things and you'll be like, it looks a little janky. But then you'll remember, this is a Bethesda title. I'm happy I'm walking in a straight line and not clipping through that building over there. So,
and the one thing that's great about Bethesda games, even when there are glitches or faults, the scale is always really impressive. Like, it's always a big world. There's always a lot of things to see and do.
They've always shot for size over, I'd say quality, but the games are quality. I don't want to undersell.
No, they are, but I know what you're saying. There's a lot of quantity in terms of the space, in terms of, as opposed to individual detail. You don't walk into every single house and see a million things. You just see like a whole town, and every house has like one or two interesting things in it. Right. But it kind of keeps you moving through.
So it's going to be interesting to see with the money that they put into this and with the new engine.
It looks awesome.
Are we gonna have like classic Bethesda gaming?
I don't know, man.
Bethesda moments as we're playing, and that's going to be really interesting to see.
No, it looks like it's a departure from their previous way of doing things, which I'm all about. Yeah. I think they're overdue for an overhaul, but
so with some of that, like mechanics that are getting overhauled and things, the radiation mechanic. I know that from what I used to see, again, not having played the games much, the radiation didn't make much sense to me. It messed with, I'm sure, certain things, and you didn't want to be too irradiated. But how they're doing it in 4, I'm really impressed with.
Yeah, you got to explain this to me, because I had no idea.
Right, so what they're doing is, and this is all based on screenshots, because it's never explicitly stated, I think.
Okay,
but Fallout Shelter, which was the mobile game that I played a little bit, worked this way too.
Could not get that game to run on my phone. I got 4S, so.
I played it a bit. It was fun. It was kind of, you get bored with it, but I've always gotten bored with those types of games pretty quickly. But it was good, and for a free game, it was excellent.
Yeah, it's hard to hate free.
So one of the interesting things is like with the radiation that they did was, as you get more radiated, your max health is not depleted. It's actually barred from going back up to its maximum.
Okay, so your cap
radiation will diminish your total cap of health that you can get to until you get rid of the radiation, then you can heal up back to full.
Okay.
So that was like a very interesting premise that I was a fan of.
Yeah, I think in the older games, I think it was Radaway or Rad-X. I'm trying to remember.
I'm sure that'll make a comeback. It's just how it works by capping your health and saying, hey, look, you got too much radiation. You can't. You're running around at 50% health all the time.
I wish I.
Haha! Get yourself some chemo, dude. Yeah. So that's interesting. The crafting system is going to ruin my life.
I'm so excited.
Laser shotguns and just all kinds of great possibilities.
Fallout's had so many great weapons just built into the game that I'm really excited to see what you can do with those weapons. So now, like. Because, again, you probably know more about this than I do. Can you build a gun from scratch? Do you start off a base weapon?
That's what the base weapon is what it seems to be. You get kind of like a pistol or like the core of what the weapon is. And, like, if it's a laser something, you take the laser core and you can make laser whatever out of that core.
Gotcha.
So that's my understanding of it. Again, nobody's really seen it too in depth, but that's what it seems to be. And that makes a lot of sense.
Oh, yeah.
So really, it's going to be interesting to see not only what weapons can you craft, but that gives them a whole lot of, say you came across the same, and this is any game, you come across the same enemy in a game like this so many times, what are they going to have? Like in Skyrim, the Imperial, they're going to have this sword and this set of armor and da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
I know what they've got, nothing interesting, move on.
Yeah.
But if they randomize the weapons that the enemies are holding,
they
say give them a class of weapon, but they can have any variation of this. Not only does that make the gameplay more dynamic when you're fighting them, because you're like, what's this guy got?
Yeah, exactly.
But it makes you more interested in looting the bodies which
Definitely.
is...
Because if you could strip components or if you can find parts off of enemies, you're going to spend a lot more time
and you might even find a gun that you're like, I could never craft this because it's insanely hard to craft, but look at this thing.
Yeah, right.
That's just going to add another amazing layer of depth to the game.
Definitely.
And of course, the thing I'm most excited about, again, having talked about Mass Effect earlier and characterization and stuff in Halo, was the story.
Yeah.
Because now you are no longer a silent protagonist. You've got full voice acting, both male and female. And I saw something come out that was, they basically said, hey, we were finished recording dialogue for the game not too long ago. We have over 100,000 lines, or it might have been a bigger number than that, of dialogue. Basically,
no, you're right. It was
the amount of dialogue is bigger than Skyrim and Fallout 3 combined.
Yeah.
And it's all theoretically going to be spoken.
Yeah.
And it's multiple... Now, I think a lot of that probably has to do with, like, for each conversation now, you always had those multiple ways to respond.
Yeah.
Each of those ways is now different. So the total amount of story that's happening...
Right.
If you play through one time, might not be greater.
Yeah, yeah.
But
multiple playthroughs
will be more rewarding. Because
even in the older games, it was like that with dialogue, where you had a lot of options as to how you could approach situations. And so many characters, if you played a certain way, you would end up killing people that had a lot of dialogue that you never got to see. And then when you go back, you're like, oh, wait, I didn't have to
and that's another
guy.
Interesting thing that during the one that you watched, the E3 presentation that Todd Howard had, was like, they can, speak... You can be like talking to somebody and just choose to shoot him in the face and walk away. So it's going to be interesting to see with the new engine, have they maintained that kind of classic, you can murder a lot of people and you can screw with your game a lot.
Yeah, basically.
If you do. I'm sure they'll have a little more control over the glitchiness of that. Of what happens, but it seems like you'll probably have a lot more consequences.
Oh, yeah. 3 was... Some of that did create some... progression problems, where you were able to kill certain people that then barred you from completing other quests. I'm trying to remember now, off the top of my head, any in particular. But,
right. So
I know a lot of that stuff got patched later, so it wasn't really as big a deal. But, yeah, there were some fun game-breaking glitches you could perform early on. But, oh, man, there's so many good moments in 3 and in New Vegas that I just, anything they do, I know it's going to be...
Oh, it's going to be wonderful.
It's going to be so good.
I'm excited. I'm sure you and I will both have good times watching that and playing it, and just I'm excited. So, we talked about Fallout 4. I think we've gotten through everything. So throughout this, and I'm waiting for it to happen again, we've had my mic or so cut out 3 different times. So now we've got to cut 3 different sections of audio together. But, dude, we did it!
Hey,
we
right?
Did it. We
not too bad for a first run,
not
man.
Too far,
I'm
not too
impressed.
bad. We this was good.
Oh, this is
and look, you're getting back in a helicopter.
Yeah.
Gonna go.
Fly away.
Gotta fly.
I feel so America every time I play this game. You just run into something.
You realize you're in space.
You kill everyone, and then you get back in your vehicle and just leave.
So the UNSC is basically Space America.
They basically are, man. They make some real unethical choices.
Like, taking kids and turning them into super soldiers.
Yeah,
against their will.
Not a great track record.
Giving their kids, giving their parents defective Flash clones.
Oh boy.
All the morals of Halo.
You can't spin that, right? Like, there's no way to be like, hey, but guys, it all worked out, right? It's like, you took children.
They did take children. And on that note, I've been Isaac.
I've been James.
And this has been very interesting.
Oh,
or you could say, just interesting.
Just interesting. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
5 stars. Rate, subscribe, like, comment.
Alrighty.